Hi, I'm Sonnet with Sonnet's Garden Blooms. I want to welcome you all to my channel. If you haven't been here before, what you're going to find is a lot of DIYs, furniture flips, thrift hauls, thrift flips, really like a day in the life of a small business owner. So today's video, I have a booth at Water Street Vintage, and when I was able to get that new booth, which was roughly, I think, like 9 months ago, I was only able to get a single booth. And from the time that I got that booth there, it has been a struggle. The booth is very small and the items that I carry are very large. So I really like to have a double booth, and I was so fortunate and I feel so blessed that at the end of November, I received that message from the store owner that I was offered a double booth. So I could not take it right away in December because I had already committed to myself that I was going to do the 12 days of DIYs for you guys. So every day I was filming videos. There was no way I was going to be able to expand from a single to a double booth at the beginning of December. So I let her know that I could do it like mid-month, and that's what I did. So I showed up on a Friday, I moved my wall, and from there, you guys are going to see the transformation from my tiny little booth to my big double booth that I now have. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to start stocking it. I just need to get through both Christmas and the New Year's. We have big plans with family and friends. And then in January, I am going to start stocking like crazy. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this video started. But if you do like the video, go ahead, give me a subscribe and a thumbs up, and let me know what you guys think of the booth. I'd love to hear from you. So enjoy.
So here's my Water Street Vintage booth, and I was given the opportunity that I've been waiting for to expand to have a larger booth. I absolutely love my booth, but it is so tiny. So now I get this whole extra booth next to me. So I'm going to go in, take that middle wall and move it all the way over to the right. And I am going to be building some new walls and transform this booth. So I came in on a Friday night and the transformation began. Jeff, the owner, and we took everything out of my booth, and we first wanted to get that wall moved over. As I was pulling stuff out, I was like, how in the world did I have all this stuff in this booth? There was just so much. And even after like I reset my booth up at the end, I'm like, I still can't believe all this fit in that tiny little booth. But just moving the wall over, I was so like, wow, I just can't believe how big the booth looks now just by moving that wall. So we talked it out. We were trying to figure out exactly how we were going to get it to move. At first, I was going to take the heavier end, and then we made the executive decision that it probably was better that he took the heavier end and I took the lighter end. It was easy, and we just slid it over. The wall is actually made up of doors, and so it slid over fairly easy. It wasn't extremely heavy, just awkward where I initially was trying to drag it. So once we got it over there, we just had to reattach it to secure that wall to make sure that it wasn't going to tip over. And Jeff did that piece of it. And then I decided to just start placing things. They are only open until 5 o'clock at night. And I'm still working a full-time job, so I actually had to work till 3:30. I ended up getting there about 4:15, so I only had about 45 minutes to actually get this done. So after moving it, then I just replaced everything because the following day was Saturday. I still wanted everything to look presentable for Saturday. And then my plans were on Sunday morning, I was going to get up and rebuild that back wall. So go and buy that same type of faux brick. I wanted that whole back wall to have that. So here you can see I'm just replacing everything, and it just, I was just trying to like put it together to make it look halfway decent, because it's still the holiday shopping season. This weekend would have been the final weekend before Christmas. So I wanted everything to look really good, or as best as it could. And to my surprise, I actually sold quite a bit more than I had even leading up to that, just by opening up the booth. And I just realized I am so fortunate, and I wish I could have done this so much sooner. So here is the booth with the wall moved over and everything placed temporarily. I kept saying, just this will be temporarily Sonnet, so don't worry about it. And I think it turned out great. Sunday morning, I hit up the local Menards, and I was only going to get 2 of these sections since the price had gone up so much. But my daughter did say, "Buy 3, Mom." And thank goodness I did, because in the end, I did need all 3 to actually complete that whole project. I would have been so mad at myself had I only bought 2. So after I was at the Menards, picked those 3 up, I then used my truck as my cutting table. It was so cold out, I didn't want to get any other tools out than I had to. So each piece I just measured. I was cutting them all down to 80 inches. And once they are cut down, they are much more manageable to move around. And today was a day that my daughter was actually she's very into softball. So she had a 2-hour softball session after after this, and my husband already had agreed to help out with my nephew. So this was like all on me. I had to do this all myself. So thank goodness when I got to Water Street Vintage, when Lori, the store manager, was kind enough to help me carry these all upstairs, so I didn't have to do it myself. But this whole process went quickly. I got these cut down in no time, and I loaded up all my tools, and then I got to Water Street Vintage. So setting up a booth or expanding a booth is a ton of fun. I love getting my creative juices going and coming up with ideas. But it also is very nerve-wracking. And today, unfortunately, my daughter is in softball. She has softball practice for several hours, so she couldn't help me carry these up the stairs. And my husband had already agreed to assist with the wrestling tournament for my nephews. So I am doing a solo run today of setting this up, so I'm a little nervous. My daughter was able to help me this morning go to the Menards, pick up these wall sections. I was able to cut them down. I cut them to 80 inches, so they are a little bit more manageable to carry up the stairs. Hopefully I was able to get them in and out of the car, but it just I just keep thinking, like, am I forgetting anything, or I don't know. We'll see how this goes. So I'm gonna bring you guys along for my solo setup today of my booth expansion. So when I start my build here, I am going to start on the right side, and I am going to work my way left. I did start by putting that first panel up and realized pretty quick that with the old booth, there were doors behind my panels, and I had to get those removed, which was quite a process. So I'm going to for sure start off by removing the door that you see me standing by right now. There is one larger door behind that panel that I keep moving. Then the other issue that I ran into is the wall that Jeff and I moved was not level. So I have to take off my first panel that I already had put on and level it and then get started. After I did those things, everything really came together nicely. The other thing that I did is I moved all my product to the front of the booth in hopes that people would still shop my booth even though it was completely destroyed and tore apart. I had more people chit-chatting with me while I put these walls up. It was pretty funny, and it was nice to chat with customers, even though I don't know if they were actually really paying attention to what I was selling or just what I was doing. But the walls went up, like I said, very quick. So here's just a little peek of how I was doing it, and I just used screws and I screwed them in. And I did really like this color of these walls, and really I probably could have kept them just like this. But Water Street Vintage is it's just darker in the building because it is an older building. And I wanted to give it want my booth to be very bright and vibrant. So the first thing I did is after I got these up, I wanted to paint them like a bright white. And that is exactly what I did. I have this bright white paint. I got this from, I believe this one was from Sherwin-Williams. I always try to hit up both the Home Depot and Sherwin-Williams and check out their mist tints or their oopsie section. And I did find this paint there, and so it was just a perfect paint to use for this. And I like using satin, and that's exactly what this is, just a satin paint, and it went on very quickly. And typically I do this all at home as well, but because of how cold it was, there was no way I was going to be standing out in the cold weather and painting these sections. So I did everything here at Water Street Vintage. I got here at 11 in the morning and I did not leave until 5 o'clock at night. So there is so much footage, unfortunately, that I did not tape. I was pretty exhausted by the end of the night. I did get a little bit of the footage though of the finished product. All right, so here you can see I took all that product that was in the front of the booth the whole time and I spread it all out. I re-put up my shelves and I just spread out the product, and wow, what a transformation thus far. I was so excited, and I am so excited to add more to this booth. So I regrouped and I came back. I took a couple days of vacation, and one of the things that bothered me on each of the corners, you can see there's a tiny gap. So I brought a piece of trim board and I had cut it at home, brought it here. I'm painting it here so it dries nicely. And while it's drying, I am going to add my light fixtures. So, you know, nothing can ever go smooth, guys. Let me just tell you that. I had envisioned when I put these walls up that the very top was touching, for whatever reason, I thought a 2x4. So I had made these lanterns to hang on the wall, and when I stepped on that little footstool, you can tell by my reaction that things weren't going right. I right away was like, okay, there's no 2x4, and it's not, the 2x4 is down 8 inches, by the way. So I had to quickly come up with an idea. And so I sat there and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh. But thank goodness from my build that I did, I had some scrap pieces of lumber in my truck. And so with that, I'm still contemplating. I'm going, oh my gosh, I came all the way here and now I can't even complete what I'm here for. But long story short, thank goodness I had those boards in there, and I came up with the solution pretty quick. So just to give you a little background on these lights, I went to the Walmart and I found these two lamps. These lamps are round. They look like lanterns, and I wanted to make them hanging lanterns is I guess how I wanted to do it. So I was trying to figure out a way to create this hanging lantern. So I ended up drilling a hole in each side and then attaching them to a board. So the board, there's actually two boards, and I'll show you, you'll be able to see it in the video. But I thought I could attach or screw the one board into the top of this 2x4 that didn't exist, that was 8 inches down. So in the end, I took this scrap board that you're seeing me hold right here, and I am cutting off 8 inches. So thank goodness I still had my jigsaw in the truck as well. And I am going to cut off an 8-inch section and put it behind the wall or the full brick wall, and I'm going to initially attach it with my brad nailer to hold it in place, and then I'm going to take 2 screws and I am going to screw it to the wall to give it a little bit more stability. So when I do screw on the hanging lantern, that it's able to hold it. I was very worried because this board is not super thick. I was thinking that maybe it was going to not be able to hold it. So everything was kind of going awry at this point. I dropped the board, and then customers were there, and I'm like, should I cut? should I make all kinds of noise? At this point, I just wanted to get this over with. So I did cut the board, and I got it up there, and then you're going to see how I am going to be hanging this. So like I said, I took my brad nailer and I brad nailed it to keep it in place. And then I took my screw gun and I put 2 screws in it. So that did give it a little bit more stability. I also made sure that that piece, that board from the lantern would fit up there. And I pre-put 3 screws in that board. So all I had to do is hang it, or when I actually put the lantern up there, that all I have to do then is screw them in so that I don't have to worry about holding a screw or anything like that. And I took my staple gun and I stapled that cord onto the wall so that it held it in place to try to hide it as much as I could. But I just love how it turned out. Just having that extra lighting there just added so much to it. And then I cleaned up the rest of the area, started putting that all back, and I proceeded to do the exact same thing on the other side. I did use paint and I touched up a few of the screws, and then I wanted to measure to make sure that it was the equal distance from the center of the booth to the other lantern. And, you know, after I got this lantern hung up, I sat there and I think it was an optical illusion, but I kept thinking, even though the measurements came out, they were both 37 inches on both sides, I swear that the other side did not look the same distance. I'm not exactly sure why I think that, but they were 37 inches from the center from each side. So, but I did the exact same thing, like I said, and this side went up so much easier, probably because I had just done it on the other side. But again, I absolutely love how this turned out. I think the lighting added so much to this booth. It just brightened it up. And one more thing I want to tell you guys, to my left, you're going to see that the walls on the wall on the left, the doors, that is where I have exciting news. I have been approved to carry all my IOD product here at Water Street Vintage. So that is going to be something I will be putting in this booth come January. All my IOD product will be here and you guys can all get it. So exciting. The booth expansion is complete, and honestly, I could not be happier. I love how bright it is. I love those lantern lights that I created, and I picked them up for only $25 each. And I can tell you, if I was to purchase like a light fixture, it would have been a lot more than $25. So it is definitely the look I was going for in this booth. A couple things that I am going to be doing in the center of the booth here. I do plan on adding a display like right there, and it's going to be like kind of like a horseshoe where you walk through the booth in a horseshoe. Then on this door, this past summer, I picked all this shiplap out of the garbage, and I used the shiplap on this door, and I am going to do the exact same thing to that door. Like I said, I have some extra, and I thought how appropriate to make both sides look the same. And then with January comes part-time, and I am going to get to town making product and just different pieces for this booth. So I want to thank you all for watching.
So what did you guys think? I love it. I love how bright and spacious it is. I think that it's going to fit all my big barn quilts and all my big furniture pieces. And then I'll be able to fill it with all kinds of smalls as well. On top of that, I'm sure you all heard in the video, I am so excited. I have been approved to offer my IOD or Iron Orchid Designs. All of those items will be offered in that booth as well. So I have been wanting to put it in one of my storefronts. I've been only able to offer it online currently. So very excited for that. So all my friends that are local can now pick it up at Water Street Vintage in New London. So I want to wish you guys all a Merry Christmas, and we will see you on Monday. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I've just been trying to take it easy. So I'm sure I'll come up with something. I was thinking maybe a thrift flip. You guys, I have a lot of stuff that I am going to be offloading in the new year to stock my booth. So I have to get started. I might as well start Monday. So, well, you guys all enjoy the holidays with your family and friends. And I thank you all for supporting my channel. I do appreciate it. All right, see you Monday. Bye.